Oh yeah, what's up, St. Vincent? Woo! Let me hear you, St. Vincent. Give the people next to you a high five. Come on. Yes, I like to hear the claps. Yeah, get it. Whiplash. It's like,
Hello, I am Kid President.
I was just trying to do an accent. It didn't work. Sorry. Okay, hello, my name is Kid President. Well, that one didn't work either. Hello, it's me, Kid President. My goodness, why am I keep doing that, Brad?
Oh, the Kid President.
I will eat you. Hello, it's me, Kid President. I'm on a mission to make the world more awesome. I'm doing this with my brother Brad, the guy behind the camera. I gotta tell you something. I know there's a lot of people out there who respect the work of Fred Rogers. But my brother Brad, he's obsessed. It's like all about Mr. Rogers. All about him. And I'm like, my first concert, it was the Wiggles. The Wiggles live. It was crazy. Jeff was sleeping the whole time. Yeah. Stop. But thank you, Brad, for teaching me. Brad been teaching me about Mr. Rogers' neighborhood, being a good neighbor, and I'm all about that now. I'm trying to be the best neighbor I can be. Be the best neighbor you can be. And that's a lot what we're trying to do with our little web show here. And today, look at this audience. Look at this audience. This isn't just some little old room. This is the room of awesomeness. We got St. Vincent College. We got the Fred Rogers Center. We got awesome people from all over in this room tonight, and it feels good. From my neighborhood to yours, thank you for everything that you do. Tonight, you get to hear from my brother Brad. He is awesome, the guy behind the camera. And he's probably gonna cry on stage, let's be real about that, but...
No, don't say that.
But please be nice to him, he's very sensitive, so... St. Vincent, thanks for giving me a reason to dance. I wish I could be with you tonight, but I got a little chaos situation. But that doesn't stop me from dancing. Nothing stops you either. So I hear you give a big St. Vincent welcome to my brother, Brad.
You guys are so nice. You're so nice. Can you hear me okay? I hear you fine. This is incredible to be here. Oh, wow. I've been able to spend time with a lot of the students and the campus here, and if the world were a Twinkie, this would be the cream filling. Right here. This room, this is seriously a room of incredible people, and I know we have some people who drove in tonight. Let's give them a hand. Many people came in. Thank you. I have loved being here, and it's an honor to kick off this week-long celebration of one of my all-time heroes, Fred Rogers. And to be here in the presence of you at the Fred Rogers Center is one of the great honors of my life. So we're going to have a whole lot of fun tonight. But I want to begin with the story, and it's a really awesome story. It's the story, once upon a time, there was a group of people at St. Vincent College, and in front of them was a pale man they had never heard of. And he was obsessed with Fred Rogers. Deeply obsessed, constantly asking the question, what would Fred do? And this is a question many of you talk about and ask here, and what they do, and it's a question that's guided actually a lot of my work. And so much so that as a kid, I loved him so much, and I wanted to write a letter to Mr. Rogers. There's even a book of letters children wrote to Fred Rogers, and then he would write back to them. And I checked that out from my library several times, and in the book came with an envelope. You could mail a letter to him. And so I was always like, oh, I want to do that, but this was a library book, and the envelope was gone. And I was always like, oh, I got to write a letter to Fred. And then I just didn't, and I got older, and then I got like all cool, well, I thought I was, and then I go to college, and then he passed away. And I never got to write that letter. And so in a lot of ways, the work I've done has kind of been like a little letter to Fred. And to be invited here is like he wrote me back. Like, it just really is. It has felt that way, and every little thing that's happened. And so tonight, I consider this a love letter to the work of Mr. Fred Rogers and to all of us. Because I don't think, a lot of people, a lot of people are like, oh, we need another Fred Rogers. We need another Fred, and I like that idea a lot. Like, I would love that. But I think he would say, no, we need you, and we need you, and you. We need all of you to be you, because you make the world more awesome by being you. And so I think he would be very sad if a room full of people said, well, let's be Fred, because he'd say, no, be you, because I like you. And that's what made him so special, and what I think we can celebrate. Now, now, a lot of people are like, oh, like, we got to make Mr. Rogers cool, you know, like, we got to do all this stuff and talk about him. And so there's all these things online about this, like where they do this, or like where they take clips and do that. And there's the thing, like you don't have to try to make him cool or hip or relevant, because to me, the reason that he's cool is not because of that stuff or like anything. It's because that's me holding my little brother. And when I became a big brother, that shattered my world. And then Mr. Rogers helped me get through that. Every day on TV, he would talk to me. He would tell me about how I was special just the way I was, and that I could be a helper in my family, and that I was making the world better just by me being myself, and that he actually wanted to be with me. And then I found out he was talking to lots of other kids too. Come on, you're mine. And it's interesting, when I posted I was coming here, I got over 40 different emails from people sharing stories, even comments online, people sharing about, oh, like amazing things he did for them. And I think they felt the same thing. Like he was talking to me. And I could have never imagined that I would get to like make a web show, and then that like lots of people would see it, and then they would invite me to come out in public to talk to human beings. Like, that is the weirdest job in the world, and you could have never explained that to little me. But now I get to make a show with my little brother-in-law, and his name's Robbie, and you saw him there, and we were laughing together with him talking about his experience at the Wiggles Live. We live across the street from each other, and we've always made things together as a family, and we happened to post something online, and then we posted another thing, and then we kept doing it, and people watched, and it's led to some really wild things. Kid President has been this monster of a thing in our lives that started very small. It was started out of love, and thankfully it's been received in love too. And so this is a little glimpse of the adventure we've been on.
We're changing the world, y'all! I know a few things. Tell me.
this one with Kid President. What's this called?
Pizza shuffle. Treat everybody like you say with cake. It's nice, people. You got air coming through your nose, the heart. That means it's time to do something. Science. You hear? You take up space, you matter. Oh, we never Let's change the future. Create something that will make the world awesome.
So yeah, so that's a little glimpse of what the journey we've been on, and it's led to some wild places that we never could have imagined when we find ourselves at the United Nations, desperately looking for a bathroom, or Robbie getting to eat dinner with someone that he kept calling Jay-Z, and it turned out to be Forrest Whitaker. And I kept correcting him. No, this is not Jay-Z. He's like, it's Forrest Whitaker. So we posted this video, and we posted several. And I've had a long series of failure in my life. I talked to a couple of classes, a couple of students today about this, where I did not quite know what to do with the creativity within me. I wanted to make things, I knew that, but I didn't know what. Like one of the first things, I like to draw. All my slides are lovingly handmade. I wanted you to know I love you, so I'm a human being. I made that for you. But I was like, I want to do something for kids. So one of the first things I did out of college was I started like feverishly working on a coloring book. Like I was going to make the best coloring book in the world. And my wife's like, what are you doing? I'm working on a coloring book. And it's for kids. And then I present after weeks of work, like this really challenging coloring book. And it's the main character, and it's a polar bear. And my wife goes, polar bear, the white crayon is not the most fun crayon? Like, since you, and it was like, I was like, I can't make him any other color. No. It was just, I remember just being so crushed. I was like, I'm never going to make anything. This is terrible. I had a TV show, a local TV show, that was a talk show I hosted in a bagel shop. And it's not still on the air. And the bagel shop isn't still open. But thankfully nobody watched it. But I learned so much in the process about what it's like to make something, and then what it's like to make something that actually matters. And along the way, a lot of people have watched. And I've been hitting on this question, and this is something Fred Rogers said when he was asked to write something for surgeons who work on children's eyes. And it was like, what do you say to these surgeons who want to better serve children? And he started it with this: you were once a child too. Like, what do you say when you want to do something for a child? You ask this, you were once a child too. And one of the things that I think why a lot of the work we've done with Kid President has resonated is because it's an invitation to pause and remember what it's like to be a kid again. To remember, to see the world through the lens of a child again. And there's nearly 3 billion people under the age of 20 in this world. And not too long ago, I was one of them, and painfully awkward and shy. And I used to film videos in my bedroom, videos of me reciting stories and poems about cats, girls who wouldn't call me back. All sorts of things in my room. Just me, there's hours of footage, me in my bedroom, and thank goodness YouTube didn't exist yet. Yeah, and it was just constant. I was like, I don't know what to do, but I gotta make something. And okay, it's looping, no. But yeah, what do I do with this? And I could have never imagined that then so we found a piece of cardboard. We've been working with kids. My wife and I started these camps that were with young people. And it was about service learning and students who were doing community service. And we had been surrounded by these incredible young people, kids who were starting soup kitchens, kids who were doing things like raising money to build wells in Africa, all on their own. Another girl who had started a beauty pageant for kids with special needs. And we're at this camp, all these beautiful kids doing beautiful things. And then I go online in the middle of an election, and there's all these grown-ups posting about things in all caps and being mad. And I was like, why can't these kids' stories be what we're listening to? Why can't we listen to the compassion and creativity that celebrate that? And so that's where Kid President came from. My wife said, well, you know, maybe Robbie, her little brother, he should be president. And I said, yeah, he should. And so he put on his Easter suit. We got a sheet of cardboard, and I drew a little seal. And we've used that same seal now for over 100 videos, where we posted it. I just asked him a few questions about life, about what it might be like if you were president. I asked him, a lot of people began to ask him questions like, what political party do you support? And so I explained to him Republican, Democrat, the Whig Party, all sorts of historical things, whatever. And then he got super bored and was like, I'm not in a party, I am a party. And I like this. So then it became, okay, I'll script this some, and then I'll ask a bunch of questions. And it's led to like me making this web show. And every week we reach over 5 million human beings with heartbeats. And so we posted this one video because I thought we were done. The election's over, we're done. I just wanted to put something out that I can be really proud of to show my kids one day. So I said, I want to make this video called a pep talk because I need a pep talk. I was tired. We had some loss in our community. I needed some encouragement. We put a pep talk online, and then 3 days later, it's over 1 million views. The next couple of days is over 7 million views. It's now over 30-something million views. 7 days after the video was on, we had been on the Today Show, CNN, and who knows where else. And I wanted to hide. Because it was fun. We're making this thing with our family. And then all of a sudden people were watching it. And people were saying like, hey, like you should come do this. Hey, come over here. Hey, can you come to my birthday party? Hey, will you be in this energy drink commercial? Hey, we wrote this part for Kid President to be in this horror movie. He's the devil. We're gonna like do all these things. Seriously, we got all these things. Like you should do this. And I was just like, shut it down. Let's hide. And my family then came and surrounded me and gave me a pep talk. We had this big family meeting. Robbie's mom, his dad, my his sister-in-law, my sister-in-law, his sister. I'm confused. Lots of people I love and who love me. And I was in a panic. And we gather up. They hug me, and they said, "Why'd you start this?" And I said, "Because I love spending time with Robbie, and I want to put something out that encourages people." And they said, "Is that happening?" "Yes." "Do you want to keep doing it?" "No." They're like, well, listen, you have a path we can take. We could say yes to all these things, or you can say yes to some of these things that actually fit with the story we want to tell as a family. And we can keep him like a normal person, and we can still love him, and we can love other people. Let's see what that looks like. And at any moment you want to quit, we can, but we just want you not to quit in fear. We're behind you. And that became, suddenly we had a compass. Suddenly we had we didn't necessarily know where we're going, but that was a gust of wind in my sails, and we could sail. So even like on film sets and things, I don't let them call me a director because a director knows what he's doing. Instead, I'm a captain because I'm following the wind. And so with the pep talk, we're following the wind, and it goes out. And we still film in our town of Henderson, Tennessee, which is about the size of this room. And it's great. It's been so wonderful for us. And we still get to spend time with each other. And this journey has been so great because it reminds me of, I have to stop and say, well, what was it like when I was a kid? And I write these videos, but then there's a lot of improv. And film editing is, you have to make choices, right? In life, you have to make choices. And this is a clip I found when I was cleaning out a hard drive. And we did a video for moms to like encourage moms. And this is one of many things I cut out from that video. And I'll show you why.
Moms, keep doing what you're doing. Moms, keep shaking your booty. You're so good worker. You just got to shake that tail that your other mama gave you. Yeah, shake your tails. You gotta keep working what you're doing. Keep what you're doing. Do what you're doing. Clean up my house, I clean up my poop. Yeah, clean up my poop. Do what you're doing. Clean up my house, clean up my poop. Yeah.
Yeah, we edited that out. But it's the thing, we don't just want to make people watch stuff, we want to make a difference. It's not like we just have to say something, we have something to say. And so I have to make certain choices, and it's like, would people watch that and share that? Yeah. Would it say what we want to say? And so we have to make choices. And so along the way, I've had to make some hard choices, and I think we all do. And tonight, I want to share with you just my story, in hopes that it encourages you to make some choices that, while we don't want to just be another Fred Rogers, but what choice would he make? And I think it would be one that invites us to live in a way that makes the world better and brighter, in a way where we can use whatever medium we are using to create something or make something or be. He made TV. And so it was this sacred space between a screen and him, but he would talk about there's a sacred space between any two people where something that needs to be said can be said. And sometimes that's a TV, and I think now sometimes it's a phone, another person, or sometimes it's a laptop, sometimes it's many different things. And so we can use social media, we can use many different, we make choices every single day. And so this is, I titled my talk because tonight's very special, my talk at St. Vincent College. And then I saw that written down and I realized that looks very boring, and this talk is not going to be boring. So it's got a subtitle, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Internet. But that's a very long title. You can't remember that in your notes. So if you're jotting things down, the title tonight is Fred Fest Kickoff. But that's very boring. So the actual title is Airbud 17. So that's okay. He's so great. He can play sports. Fred moment. The greatest thing we can do is let somebody know that they are loved and capable of loving. Well, my friend Glennon, she talks about this because she told me about someone she loves who works in hospice care. And she said that one of the last things people hear as they're dying is people surround them and they say, "I love you." Like that's the last thing every single person that she had in hospice care that they hear when they're here. And my children, when they were born, the first thing I said to them was, "I love you." I didn't know what else to say. I couldn't even make words good. I just looked at them and was like, "I love you." And so if the first and last thing we all hear on this earth is "I love you," there's a lot that happens in between, and I think we spend a lot of that time forgetting it. And I think if we do it right, we can make choices that remind every person and every interaction just how profoundly and deeply loved we all are. And so tonight is my silly attempt to let you know that I love you. I wasn't exactly taught the right alphabet, I feel like, and I always want to spell L-O-V-E, but sometimes it comes out as corn dog or something dumb. But I want you to know this talk, the whole point is to tell you I love you. And in Kid President videos, we say, treat everybody like it's their birthday, which came from my grandmother attempting to teach me the golden rule. Because when it's somebody's birthday, you don't punch them. You're nice to them. You think about it, if it's somebody's birthday, you're like, oh, they were born. People celebrate their existence. I should be nice to them. Treat everybody like it's their birthday. And so we talk about this in our videos, and that means that we have to actually live it out. And so when Robbie and I go places, that's his job. It's like, you just have to treat people like it's their birthday. You don't have to be awesome. You don't have to be impressive. Just treat them like it's their birthday. And it takes this weight off of him because he doesn't have to be impressive. He just has to be interested in the people around him. And so, thanks, updater. So some of the choices we have to make are, number one, to choose awesome, which, so the average person on a day says 16,000 words. Some people say more. You're looking at other people in the room. But we all say this, so we can combine our words and we can choose them to say something, to say lots of different things. We can say something mean, we can say something meaningful, we can say something thoughtful, or we can just say hey, how about the election? We can say whatever. And so one of the things we can choose to do with our words is to hug. To choose to hug the haters. A lot of people online say lots of different things, right? There's lots of people have opinions. I don't know what they did with them before the internet, but we share them. Whoever said you're your own worst critic never posted a video on YouTube. Because people are they get brutal. And so, and even Kid President's this super positive thing. We're all treat everybody like it's their birthday. You're awesome. He's awesome. And some people are you're not awesome. I do not like you, Kid President. I didn't ask for you to show up on my Facebook page. And so some people get mad. And I was like, well, we have to treat everybody like it's their birthday. So let's just send them cat pictures. Let's celebrate them. Let's tell our audience that this person's having a bad day. And so our audience swoops in and they're like, hey, we hope you have a better day. One person was this guy, Tim, who he said, so Kid President kind of sucks, right? And which this is a nicer comment, okay? And then I was like, oh, well, everybody has those days, Tim. We hope you feel better. And he's like, I don't know how you found me or who are you, but why you're assuming I'm having a bad day, but you can mind your own business. And I was like, and then we're hug. And he's and then he goes on this critique about us, and he's I didn't ask you to hug me. And so he sent a picture. But we love you, Tim. And then all his friends are we know Tim, he's not normally like this. He's really a nice guy. And he's I'm not a nice guy. And then he's you guys. And then finally we said, Tim, we love you. And our audience had gotten in on this and had been attacking him with love. I call it a hand grenade of happiness. And he then said, you guys win. I was having a bad day. This helped. Thanks. And he followed us. And he still follows us. And every now and then I just reach back out and I'm like, hey Tim, hope all's well. Because hater's gonna hate, but hugger's gonna hug. That's what we're trying to do. And then even today, this happened today. Somebody posted this on our Facebook page. And what do I do with that? When somebody says, I was gonna end my life, and you've helped keep that? What? The internet can be used for some really dumb stuff. But man, it can connect us in ways that I never dreamed. And it connects with people in ways I never imagined. With the Kid President pep talk, people started writing. That's when I realized this is beyond me. This sacred space between this computer screen and whatever thing I've made, something else is happening. Because when somebody writes in and says, hey, I watched your video and my life's different. Hey, I watched your video and I quit my job. I'm like, no, that was not the intent. You should really think about this. The people are impacted. We connect. Kid Present has a tin can phone, okay? There's no magic in it, except there's a lot of magic in it. It's just a tin can phone, but I feel more connected when I talk to people with the tin can phone, right? Like there's a special magic there. We're connected on a deeper level when I can get the First Lady to have a tin can, and Lady Michelle Obama has a tin can phone and speaks to us. And so treating everybody like it's their birthday makes every single day a party. And I'm in this room today because somebody told me that I was important, that my story mattered, that my voice mattered, that somehow what I had to say mattered. I don't know who that was for you. It's something Fred did constantly. Every time he spoke, he had a moment where he had everybody quiet and had them reflect. And he would say, I'll watch the time. I'll mind the time. It's such a great phrase. And he would have them think about the people who loved them into being. When I think about that person, I think about my 4th grade teacher. Now, in 4th grade, I had great legs. And when you got them, right? You know? And one of the things, I was the kid who would finish the test early so I could draw on the back of it. I would write stories that would go way more than the teacher asked. I was writing ridiculous things, and I had comic strips about my class, and I did not know what to do with that creativity. And she was the first teacher who, instead of just being like, why are you doing this? Do the assignment. Like, put some pants on. Like, anything like that. Instead, she looked at me and she said, great job. Like, this is actually really special. And you know what? You're very good at this. You should send these comics to the high school newspaper. I was like, oh, no, like the high school newspaper, no. They put my comic strip in the high school newspaper. It's called Fly Away Frank. It's about this bird who always tried to fly, but he couldn't because he was so bad at it. Hilarious, right? Very topical. But it made it in the newspaper, and I thought, she validated that voice. She even said, your stories are really interesting. We should send these to Walt Disney feature animation. I was like, no, we shouldn't do that. Walt Disney's dead. I hate to be the one to tell you. But she said, I want you to get some of your favorite drawings and I'll help you package these up. So I went home and I got a cassette recorder and I recorded me doing voices. I wrote sequels to Disney movies. I had all these drawings I did and a letter, and she helped me put it in a little binder, in a box, and we mailed it. And a couple of weeks later, I got something in the mail. And the return address had Mickey Mouse on it. It said Walt Disney Feature Animation to Mr. Brad Montague. And I got that letter, and I flew back into my house. Like, my legs were faster than me. And I ran in, and I was like, Mom, I got this letter. And we opened it up, and the letter said, Dear Mr. Montague, me, we regret to inform you, but we cannot accept submissions from outside sources due to legal obligations. Thank you. And, that was the best. It was like this great breakup letter, right? Like, sorry, we can't accept this. But there was this in the bottom corner, and I don't know if you can read it. P.S. Thanks for making our day. Keep sharing your voice. I don't know if my teacher put them up to that. I don't know if it's just an intern who always wrote that, but I doubt it. To me, that was like they were transmitting that message directly to me, saying the exact same thing my teacher was saying to me. It was, your voice matters. These people say, your voice matters. Your voice matters. Keep sharing your voice. And so when moments like this happened, where I got to meet Grover, and I cried like a baby, I told my teacher, Miss Debbie, this is all your fault. She was the first person we gave a copy of our book to. She's the person that I think about even today. As I was visiting the center, I thought about Miss Debbie. It's her fault. It's all her fault. I think about grown-ups who take time to let kids know their voice matters. So I don't know who it was for you, but it was somebody, because you're here now. When we got to go to the Oval Office, the president transformed, regardless of how you feel about his politics or whatever. In that moment, he turned into like a caring grown-up who got on his level and asked him about his homework, about pets. And there's even a moment where Robbie felt comfortable enough to ask questions. And the president's showing him this piece on the wall, and he's like, do you know about the Emancipation Proclamation? He's like, what's that? He's like, well, that was a part of the process of freeing the slaves. And Robbie asked, well, what were slaves? Why were there slaves? And I was mortified. Like, oh no, let's don't talk about that right now. Can we not? Like, this is all going great. And there's this great thing. He heard that question. The president kneels down and he says, I'm so glad you asked that question. There was a time when people thought it was okay to own other people. And they thought they were better than them because of their color of skin. And I'm so glad you're growing up in a time when you think that's ridiculous. Let me show you this over here. And this goes on. And I got chills. I look over and one of the Secret Service men is standing at the door and he has a tear in his eye. And I was just, and they whispered to me, this doesn't happen all the time. It was this magical thing. Like when you remember what it's like to be a child, and you can truthfully share something and let them know that their questions matter, their voices matter. He did not sugarcoat, he didn't hide, he said exactly what's true, and he didn't hide the darkness, but he did breathe a whole lot of light into that. This is a project I'm working on. I'm a serial killer, and you go in my office. I was like really proud of it. My wife was like, "You've lost your mind." But I'm doing this project right now, and it has been life-changing. It's called the Listening Tour. So right now, like I realized I was always with kids, but always like talking at them, and I was like, I'm just gonna listen. So I've been doing a listening tour. I'm Skyping with 4th and 5th grade classrooms. And I'm doing at least one in every state is my goal. And I have 30 of them lined up already. And it's been incredible. I ask them questions about, what is it you're afraid of? What do you love? What's the funniest joke in the world? 4th graders love farts, just so you know. And what do you want to do? What does it look like to be an awesome grown-up? And they've been sharing beautiful things. I even got to play ukulele with a group of 5th graders 2 weeks ago. It's been magical. And I think the idea of like in the midst of an election year where there's going to be a whole lot of racket, I'd like to be at least one grown-up and hopefully many who are just quiet and letting kids speak. And tonight I want you to know you are powerful. And you're like, that's right. She is, he is. And I mean, no, you. Like you. You have the power to say something that will impact someone that they will remember for a long time. We've talked about all these other people and my 4th grade teacher, all these things. You've been thinking about someone, but you have something within you that you can share. And you can choose awesome. You can also do something that I've been learning to do and trying to do is to choose people. Fred moment. Fred said, wishes don't make dreams come true, which is very anti-Disney. Like a lot of people criticize Fred Rogers when they talk about, oh, well, he just like told everybody they were special and like that. Oh, he's created this whole generation of kids that think they can have whatever. Like wishes don't come true because wishes don't make dreams come true. Like no other kids show says that. He also he talked about dark things like divorce, death. He talked about people going into the army, some of them not coming back, fighting. He talked about war. He talked about all of these things that are dark and big that we don't want to deal with, but children are dealing with. And he did it and said, let's go through this together. And so we can talk about lots of things, but when we choose to walk through life together with people, then that's when something really special happens. And so one of the things that I've been learning from working with a kid is invite everybody to the party. Now, I don't know if you were ever one of those kids who got to have a birthday party, but now when I have a party, I'm kind of sensible about it, and I invite, my close friends, people who aren't going to make too much racket, like somebody who's going to bring food or whatever. But when you're a kid, you like go through, okay, I want to invite my friends, I want to invite my dental hygienist, I want to invite, that lady that I saw at the grocery store, I want to invite him, the guy across the street, the guy who does the hedges across the street, like everybody can come, invite everybody to the party. And so online, that's what we've been trying to do. And so as people started to watch our videos, we said, how can we invite people to the party? So one of the first things we're like, well, let's have a big online dance party. Just a big dance party. We'll have people send in videos of them dancing, and we're all going to have a party together. And people did it. Yeah, like people were underwater, people were doing all sorts of stuff. Like it was this big people party, you have this dance, and we're like, this was so much fun. What else is contagious? So laughing. So we have people like, let's have laughter's super contagious. What if we could just get people sending videos of them laughing? And they did it. That's one of my favorite ones. Do you remember when having things dropped on your face was hilarious? It was so fun. Getting those in my inbox was like, I was so happy that this was my job. Like, I get to do this? Like, people are sending in these videos. So then we're like, what else is contagious? What else can we do? So I had told Robbie this story. Like at my college, this is probably not a legal thing, but we had to share a mailbox with people. Do you guys do that? Yeah, that's not legal. I don't know what kind of school I went. So we had to share a mailbox. We have box mates, and she didn't get mail for several weeks. So I got a corn dog from our extra cafeteria, and I just wrote, "Sorry you haven't got any mail. Here's a corn dog, Brad." And then she was like, and I did that every day. And because you have like lots of money on your card like left over at the end of the semester. Well, then she started putting corn dogs back to me, and then other people started mailing like it became a thing. And so I told Robbie this story, and he thought that was amazing. So we're shooting a video about like, you should do this for people to make life awesome. And he out of nowhere is like, you should just mail your friend a corn dog. And it was not intended for people to actually do it, but then it turned into a corn dog revolution where we've had people from all over the world have corn dog parties. Teachers have Kid President Day where if they get an award, they get a terribly unhealthy corn dog online. It's turned into this massive thing. Just last week, somebody mailed us a corn dog, and it smelled like death. It was terrible. And so that happened. We're like, okay, that was dumb. Like, what if we could do something that actually was cool? Something that actually made the world a better place. We've been making things that are very digital. What if what we're putting online actually impacted the real world in some way? And so a few years back, I had started this thing in our community called Socktober. The idea engaging and activating people to help the homeless in their neighborhood. So in our town, there's a shelter, and they were getting ready for winter. So we had schools and churches do Socktober. And then it went well. And the next year, more people did it. And then our third year, like Kid President had started up, and I was like, well, let's have Kid President declare it's October, and incredible things happened.
Socks, socks, socks.
So first graders at Manhorn Elementary School are collecting socks during the month of October, which has now been dubbed Socktober, because the idea from a popular video series called Kid President.
This is crazy. We're collecting socks to help the homeless. Hey, Kid President. Mom and I just packed your box for the shelter. Did you know it's Socktober? The world has changed by one people like me and you.
And so we had kids from all over the world, all 50 states. This past year there was a Socktober drive. There was even on every single continent, in places where sock and ock don't even correlate. This kid gave up his birthday and had his friends bring socks for a big party. This is a company here that had their coworkers do this. They did puppet shows. The Sesame Street Workshop, they had their whole offices celebrate it. And my favorite story, though, I have a couple, but one was an email from a guy who said he passed a man who was homeless every single day, and in honor of Socktober, he decided to at least stop and find out that guy's name. He's like, and then he has lunch with him once a week. And it's like, that happened. And then we were on an airplane, and there's a group of younger kids who recognized Robbie and myself, and so we were being sort of loud. And then there was a dad who we happened to be sitting beside who was a little older, and it was one of those planes where there's 3 seats. So there's this man, myself, and Robbie. And he leans over to me, he's like, so those kids, they were making some racket. What do you guys do? And I was like, oh, well, I make silly YouTube videos. It's about kids and grown-ups working together to change the world. He's like, oh, well, let me tell you about my daughters. My daughters, they did this thing called Socktober. They collect socks. And we as a family, we actually went. I had never been to our shelter. We went, and he pulls out his phone, and he's showing me. Like, yeah, look, we did this. I even gave him my coat, and started showing, and I was just like, what? That's a great idea. That's really good. What do you say? It was one of those things, like this whole thing is like Fred writing a letter back to me. That was this moment where I was like, I was being hugged, like a wink, like, hey, nobody has to know where this comes from. You don't have to get the credit. It's just awesome it happened, right? And so that's been this whole lesson that I've been learning, is how incredible it is to just get a glimpse at the impact we can make as people. Just a glimpse. And so invite everybody to the party. It's incredible things happen when you do. One of the questions Fred asked, and I think he would ask today, is how can we make goodness attractive? How do we make goodness attractive in a way where we're like inviting people into a party? I don't think he did it by shouting or accusing people of being a certain way or anything. He just did it by being, by showing a better way, by living out a better way. And so people were attracted to that. And this has been a question that I have been asking myself. How do we make goodness attractive? Because something happens when people see it. They want to be a part of it. I've been learning that lots of things are contagious, like hate and fear, but hope and love and joy are the best kind of contagious. The fact that like our work, which is so ridiculously positive, has connected with people has given me hope that there's people who want that. We have a hunger for something better, for how can we put things online that remind us why we're here? How can we post things that remind people what truly matters in life? How can we make goodness attractive? You can make goodness attractive by, just taking a chance with whatever you have. You don't have to have much. You don't have to have a huge budget or lots of followers. One thing, Robbie really wanted to do a video with Beyonce. And so we got some dinosaur chicken nuggets, and we filmed a video showing what it would be like if they did a video together. And so it looked like this.
Oh, hi, I'm
then there's several moments of them kissing. So I went to Beyonce.com and I found every email address I could and I sent the video. It was like, you want to come out and play? Like, and then they wrote back, we're going to be coming through Nashville. Let's do this. And I was like, what? And there was like meeting after meeting after meeting. There was more security than when we went to the White House. I had a phone call with a guy whose job was to tell me that no one, I would not, and no one on my team would touch Beyonce. And I was like, okay, I won't. He's like, I need you to verbally tell me you will not touch Beyonce. I was like, okay, I hugged her. And but we sent it, and then this happened. It was incredible. Like, we got in the room, we're in the room with Beyonce, and this, come on. Like, and so a lot of people are like, how did that happen? Even the United Nations reached out to us and they're like, so we've been trying to get Beyonce to help us with something? How did that happen? And I was like, well, I went to Beyonce.com and the power of chicken nuggets. Dinosaur chicken nuggets. But I learned a lot about people, and I've learned a lot about people along this way because a lot of people are like, oh, you work with lots of celebrities. And one of the things, after we filmed with Beyonce, she looks at me and she says, was that okay? Did you get what you need? Did I do okay? I can do it again. I was like, you're Beyonce. You're fine. It's okay. I don't know if I had a memory card in, so it's me. Like, I'm the one who screwed up. But it's been this thing recurring, like over and over. These people that were like, oh, they're like, am I okay? It's like everybody has this hunger to know they're okay. Even if they've been on the cover of magazine after magazine after magazine, they still want to know that they are loved. Another thing we can choose, and it's something a child does not necessarily have to be forced to choose because they just naturally do it, but joy. Choosing joy. Fred's work was full of joy. You think about, you can't sing the Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood theme without like a smile. I had Robbie try to sing it. This is his attempt.
It's an awesome day in this neighborhood. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Beautiful day in the neighborhood. I don't know the rest of the lyrics.
He did not. Okay. And so music is something that I really love, and we've tried to incorporate a lot. I've written a lot of music for our show, and I wrote a song for a special episode we did that was actually a tribute to Fred Rogers, and the band A Great Big World sang it, and this is that clip. It's a song about being a neighbor.
I think it'd be very good if we could all love our neighborhood. Wouldn't it be so wondrous if we could love the people right next to us? If we could love the people right next to us.
And I think it'd be very good if we could all love our neighborhood. Wouldn't it be so wondrous if we could love the people right next to us?
Yeah. So we call what we do with our family a joyful rebellion. Now, because normally a rebellion is angry. You think about a rebellion, there's a bunch of people like, we're rebelling, or like it's fueled by fear, or like they're throwing tea in a body of water, or they're shooting a Death Star, or like something's happening. But a joyful rebellion is what we are. Like this is a room full of joy rebels. Like you're people who are fueled by a joyful vision for how things could be. A joyful rebellion. Like this, you guys that I've been meeting here at St. Vincent, like you have this idea of what we can do in the world, and you're not fueled by I'm so mad and we got to do this. It's like, no, wouldn't it be great if the world were like this? Wouldn't it be great? Like you're injecting the world with this joy, and joy is actually something that comes natural, but we forget it. I've done this thing that's I'm sort of embarrassed about, and instead I grew up. And I started to kind of like take myself kind of serious. We get invited to some fancy schmancy places, and I think like, oh, I'm a big deal. We got invited to the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Yeah, I know, right? I'm so cool. It's a big deal. I was wearing a Lego bow tie, and we're there. Barbara Walters is there. Jeff Goldblum. He was in The Fly. He's there. All these really impressive people. And I'm feeling really good about myself. And I fell down. Like, not just like, oh, that's her up. It was like, fell down a thing. I didn't know there were stairs. And, oh no, is that man okay? Kind of thing. And I was mortified. Like, I was like, is there blood? Who saw me? I popped up, and I was like, oh, Barbara Walters didn't see. And Robbie's response? To laugh loudly.
Not funny.
He laughs. And then his laughter was so like, everybody else was laughing, like, oh, he's okay. And then they start laughing, and other people start coming up and being like, oh, I almost tripped there too. And oh, one time I died. And it was like, suddenly that popped this balloon of everybody being uncomfortable, and suddenly everybody was friends. And it was all because joy had infiltrated the situation. And, you know, I am learning joy, and I embarrass him constantly, but he loves to dance. Like the dude, the first time he got behind the desk, it was like oh yeah, like he felt powerful. As a kid, he gets to be behind the desk, say whatever you want to say, and he's like, yeah. So he starts dancing, and one of our big things is it's everybody's duty to give the world a reason to dance. This image of this, he's always happy and dancing, but a lot of people don't realize is that he has this bone condition. He has a bone condition he was born with. It's called osteogenesis imperfecta. It's sometimes referred to as a brittle bone condition. Tough, and gonna encourage little man because he, you know, I'm the cool grown up here, and I go in and I was seeing him in a hospital bed, this person I love so much. And then he looks at me and he can't move any other part of his body, but he starts dancing with just his head. And looks at me with this big smile. And it's been a punch in my face. I can't ever complain about a headache or just not feeling it today, or I can't even, like none of that. Because if he can find a reason to dance, his sister can find a reason to dance, I can too. We all can. And so when we look at the world and we ask, what are we going to do in it? How can we carry forward Fred's legacy of putting out caring messages of love to people, regardless of what we do? How can we make goodness attractive? How can we impact the world? When we did this tribute to Fred on one of our shows, we talked about what it means to be a neighbor. And he broke down world change to happen just right here in a small scale level. These simple interactions that we have every single day. So we did an episode where a kid president zooms all the way out to the world, and he wants to send a message to aliens in space in case they happen to find out about us. And this is about being a neighbor. The greatest gift you'll ever give is your honest self. And this is what he gives. So this is a message to neighbors. This is the very end.
Here's who we are. No, yeah, that's us. Just down 2 miles down, left to Mars. If you hit Venus, you got too far. You guys, you ever out there? I hope you love the neighbors like crazy. I hope you treat everybody like your own crew. And that you're boldly going somewhere awesome. KP out.
I wasn't gonna do this, but I want to say it to you. And it's that it's you I like. Every part of you. Not the way you do your hair, but it's you I like. The way you are right now, way down deep inside you. Not the clothes that hide you. Not your school books. They're just beside you. It's you I like. Every part of you, your skin, your eyes, your feelings, whether old or new. I hope that you'll remember, even when you're feeling blue, that it's you I like, it's you yourself, it's you I like. I keep a poem in my pocket, and it's advice to young wizards. But I wrote this, and I think that you don't hide your magic. Please share your gift. Seeing you shine gives the whole world a lift. It's okay for wizards to be quiet or shy, but hiding your magic is a crime, and here's why. The room needs to dazzle. The world needs what you've got. You might think that you're nothing, but please, please do not. You're more, you're magic. It's time to be seen. You're more powerful than you know and more loved than you can dream. So when you feel less than, or that you don't count, or small, or your soul is all flooded with doubt, remember your gift. Remember you're prepared. And never forget, magic is meant to be shared. Thank you for letting me share my magic, and for you sharing your magic. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.